Chapter 5, Lesson 4, Decimals. Our content targets students to understand that decimals can be terminated and repeating. Our language target students will show their understanding of decimals by dividing two numbers and continuing after adding a decimal to the number with a partner. So here we have rational numbers. Rational numbers can be written as fractions. So as you can see in the middle, you have the yellow, which is the whole numbers, which are your counting numbers except for 0. Integers are all numbers. That's whole numbers, including 0, and all your negative numbers. But rational numbers are the numbers that also include decimals, repeating decimals, negative decimals, and fractions, and mixed numbers. So fractions, terminating, and repeating decimals, percents, and integers are all rational numbers. Every rational number can be expressed as a decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator. By dividing the numerator by the denominator. Okay, that's how we find our decimal. To indicate the number pattern that repeats indefinitely or just keeps going, we're going to use a bar notation. A bar notation is a bar placed over the digits that repeat. Bar notation is simply a bar over the digits that repeat. So in the first one, 5, 4 repeats. So we have our bar above the 5 and the 4 only. In the second example, it's 5, 8, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. The 5 and the 8 stay the same. They don't change. Only the 3 repeats. So they put the hat or the bar over the 3. So when we look at examples, so here's write 5/12 as a decimal. So what I would do is I'd go to my Google calculator. And I'm going to write 5/12 as a decimal. So what I need to do is I'm going to divide my numerator by the denominator. So 5 divided by 12. So when I go to my calculator, I type that in. So I'm going to take 5 divided by 12, which gives me the number 0.416666666. So which numbers are repeating? That's the 6. So when I write my number, I go 0.416. 6 is the number that repeats, so it gets the hat. When I write a mixed number, such as 2 and 5, 6, 2 and 5, 6 is the same as 2 whole pizzas plus 5 sixths of another. So what we want to do is we want to find the decimal for the fraction of 5 sixths. So again, I take my 5 and I divide that by 6. So I go to my calculator and I'm going to take 5 divided by 6. And when I do, I get 0.833333333. So which number is repeating? That's the 3. So the bar goes over the 3, but the 8 stays still. So I have 0.83 with the bar over the 3. Now what about the 2? Well, we have to add that to 0.83. So the 0 comes out and the 2 goes in. So it's 2.83 with a bar. Now you can also do this if you go to your Google Clever page. If you go to Clever and you log in and you go to my home page. My home page looks like a blue polar bear. It says Mr. Cutsforth's page. There's my blue polar bear. If I click on that link, I do have calculators here for changing a fraction to a decimal. So if I click on fraction to a decimal, I click on my fraction, which is 5 and 6, and I hit calculate, and there's my answer. Okay, so you can use that as well. I also have mixed numbers to a decimal as well. Okay, so let's practice on a couple. Here are fractions to decimal. So I have 1/6. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to use here's my numerator, denominator. So I have 1 divided by 6. So I go to my calculator and I go 1 divided by 6, and I get 0.166666666. So which number is repeating? That's the 6. So I go back, and my decimal is 0.1, and the 6 repeats so it gets a bar. How about 8/9? 8 is my numerator, so 8 divided by 9. So I go back to my mouse, I go back to my calculator, and I go 8 divided by 9, and I get 0.888888888 repeating. So what number is repeating? The 8. So when I go back to my answer, I go 0.8 with a bar, or that hat. Let's look at the last one, 2/11. Again, 2 is my numerator, 2 divided by 11. I go back to my calculator, 2 divided by 11, and I get 0.1818181818. Which numbers are repeating? What's the 1 and the 8? So that's our answer over here. We have 0.18, and they're both repeating, so they both get the hat. So what about negative numbers? Well, negative fractions and mixed numbers are the same way we do regular fractions and decimal and mixed numbers. The only thing is that we add this negative sign here to the front of it. So write -2/9 as a decimal. So the same thing. Numerator, denominator. So 2 divided by 9. So I go back to my calculator and I go 2 divided by 9 has 0.222222 repeating. So a 2 is repeating. So I go back to my answer and it's 0.2 repeating. Now remember that negative sign in front? I'm just going to bring that straight down and put it right in front of my answer. So my answer is a -2/10 repeating. Same thing with my -2 2/3 as a mixed number. -2 plus 2/3. So I'm going to use my decimal here. I'm going to take 2 divided by 3, my numerator divided by my denominator. I go to my calculator. 2 divided by 3 is 0.6666 repeating. What number is repeating? That would be the 6. So I get 0.6 repeating. And I'm going to add that to the -2. So I get -2. That's my whole number. It replaces the 0, decimal, 6, repeating. So even though it's a negative number, we do that the same way. We just add that negative sign at the end. So let's take a look at these practice problems. Let's go -1/4. So I'm going to take 1 divided by 4. So I go to my calculator. 1 divided by 4 equals 0.25. Well, that's a terminating decimal because nothing repeats. It ends. Okay? So my answer to that would be 0.25, and I have to add that negative sign in front. Let's look at letter E, negative 5/6. So again, I go back to my calculator. 5 divided by 6. And I get 0.83333 repeating. What number repeats? The 3. So I go, my answer is 0.83. Remember, the 3 is the only number repeating, so the 8 does not get a hat. It has a negative sign here, so it has to have a negative sign in front. Negative 2 and 1/6. We're going to do the 1/6 first. So I go back to my calculator. I do 1 divided by 6. Which is 0.1666666 repeating. So my 6 is repeating, my 1 stays the same. So I have 0.16 and the 6 repeats. And then I bring down that negative 2 in front. That's my whole number. So negative 2 and what? Negative 2.16 with the 6 repeating. So here we have just a story problem. Of 9 students surveyed, 4 said they prefer exercising in the morning rather than the evening. Express this fraction as a decimal. So how many people said that they would like to exercise in the morning? That would be 4. Out of how many total students? That's 9. So I need to write this as a decimal. So I go back, I go 4 divided by 9. 4 divided by 9 is 0.444 repeating. What number repeats? The 4. So I go back and I have 4/9 as a decimal is 0.4 with a hat.